Welcome to the Undo podcast, where we rethink work, rest, and play. I'm Dulcie.
And I'm Yemisi. Hi.
And we are here to have the conversations that don't happen enough about ambition, identity, rest, joy, and doing life on your terms. So, if you are done with shrinking, settling, or running on fumes, you are in the right place. So, today we are going to talk about support. Not you just get a mentor or find a sponsor. No, none of that. We're going deeper than that. Because so many of us are navigating really big decisions, or we're going through messy seasons, or we're just experiencing major growth, but without the support system that truly fits who we are now or who we're trying to become. So today we're going to explore how to build a circle around you that truly supports you and why it's time to move away from those kind of cold or corporate frameworks into something that's just a bit more human. All right? Ready?
All right.
Let's do this. Okay, so we've probably all been told at some point, to get to that next level, you've got to find a mentor. It'd be really good for you if you could maybe think about getting a coach. You know what? I think you should network more. People don't really know about you. You need to really work on your visibility. Right? And there's all kinds of lingo. There's this one, you need to build yourself a personal board of directors. Yeah. You're the CEO and you need a board of people around you.
CEO.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of chat, right?
Wow.
I said all of that with
tongue in cheek.
Being a bit bitchy, haven't I? Let me step back a second and just say there's nothing wrong with those ideas, right? There's nothing wrong with having a mentor, with having a sponsor, with having a coach. I've had all of them. There's nothing wrong conceptually with building a board of directors. But my view at this point in my life, career, etc., is that some of these things are incomplete, or they can be a bit rigid, or they're not possible for you.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Sometimes they're just simply out of reach.
Yeah.
So when it comes to thinking about support in these ways, how does that resonate with you? Like, what's your experience of it? What's your view on it?
So for me, I agree with you completely about the whole kind of like, sometimes, when you need support, sometimes the medicine or the solution is more problematic than the actual issues that you're facing. I found that in my experience where, I heard those same things: find a mentor, find a sponsor. And in my quest to find one, I remember just it being just not. It left a bad taste in my mouth, to be quite frank. And I think the environment you're in really matters. And I realized that actually I have enough within myself and in my own personal relationships to support me in work type things. So I say that to say I basically made you my... I basically leveraged the relationships I already had, i.e. you.
Yeah.
And I remember we've had so many conversations about like career, and when things are like kind of a bit wobbly at work, I speak to you and I have a lot more clarity and a lot more perspective, and I move more confidently at work because of a lot of the conversations that we have had personally. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we say this every episode, but also professional help.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
See, I just big ups to my therapist, man, because he really helped me. And the thing about therapists is that they don't do the work for you. You still do the work, but they help you they clear the runway for you to take off into your best self. You know what I mean? So it was just really great to be able to examine kind of underlying root causes, get them out of the way so I could have a very clear perspective and strategy on how to move forward. So You know, I was going to say I have a very close circle of friends, but it's more like a square. It's not a circle. But leveraging the relationships that I already had, because my husband and I joke about this, that, for me, friendships is about quality, not quantity. And so I have a small number of very high quality friendships that I realized that were actually, because you don't want to bother your friends about work stuff. But I realized that was not what they were thinking, right? They were not feeling like I was bothering them with work stuff. And it was also the work about doing my own kind of soul searching with my negative self-talk and how I was projecting those negative things onto my friends who love me, and all they want is for me to be happy and thriving, and overcoming those barriers to actually open up to them more. So that was the main thing for me in terms of support, is unlocking that within myself. Oh, okay. So another thing, my faith has brought me through some really dark times, really, really dark times, because there were times where my therapist was not available. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with support, especially around life and work challenges.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. I think, again, it will be very familiar to a lot of listeners, I'm sure, around just the challenge sometimes of just finding the right people and knowing who to go to with what, for what, etc. It can be a real challenge, and then not wanting to blur or muddy friendships, but also having those assumptions, I don't want to bother them with that, even though it would be no bother to them. There's just a lot that it can feel sometimes quite complex. But I've gone through a lot of ups and downs of this whole support thing, because I think at the heart of it, I'm not a person who finds it easy to ask for help. It's not in my nature or my nurture to lean on anyone.
Because they're usually the one people go to for help.
Yeah. So and I've been let down a lot. So it's left me wary. And then I think professionally as well. So I've done the whole thing, mentors, sponsors, etc. The best thing I ever had was a coach.
Okay.
She was exquisite. Really,
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she helped me through a very challenging period. And what I noticed about her was she was really keen to understand me, which was very different to the whole mentor. I'll be so honest, and there'll be people listening who disagree with me, and everyone's got their own view, everyone's got their own experience, but I've not had good luck with mentors. I've actually found those relationships very useless. Sorry, but just being honest. But I don't think I've always done it the right way. I think when I have approached people to be a mentor or entered into a mentor relationship within a workplace, it's just been a time waster. Sponsors have been much more interesting to me because it's a lot more direct of, I need you to speak up for me. I want you to understand me and stuff, but you're at a certain level, you hold a certain amount of influence, and I'd like you to leverage that for me, kind of thing. Obviously, it's
I like that.
Said in a far more delicate, and there's a dance to it, obviously, but that is what it is ultimately. But so yeah, I think they're all of these things, apart from the coaching, and I think that's because I had a really good coach, a lot of these things are incomplete. The best, I think, framework I've seen until I created my own is the personal board of directors, where, and it is kind of this girl boss type thing, which is problematic in itself. But the idea is that think of yourself as a business, and, a big business will have a board of directors, people fulfilling different roles, coming from different places with different sorts of advice. And the combined advice of your board enables your business to be healthy and prosperous, blah, blah, blah. So if you were to apply that to yourself, what would that start to look like? So I think there's something interesting in that. But I think at the very heart of where all of these existing frameworks don't quite resonate for me is that they are, what's the word? Too compartmental, or they encourage compartmentalization. Say the word. Right back at the beginning of season 1, we talked about work-life balance.
Yeah.
Season 1, episode 1, and why that's dead. And actually, work-life integration is the thing. And I think all of these frameworks struggle to allow for that because they're very much like, this is me, Dulcie, at work, talking to my work mentor. Let's talk about work stuff, right? And it's very... I actually think that, and you see where I said that my coach was the best relationship I had because she really wanted to know me.
Yeah.
And understand me. And then she was able to help me get through work things because she had a better understanding of who I actually am. And so she had a very well-rounded approach to career coaching. So I think for me, that's where I'm like, yeah, something's missing from a lot of these other frameworks. And what's missing is that it's not about you. It's not about you in totality. It's about you and potentially the mask you wear at said office, as opposed to who you really are as a person.
I think you hit a really kind of big nail on the head because it's more about performance or productivity rather than personhood.
Exactly.
And it's personhood that drives those other metrics.
Thank you. Exactly.
So I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think, and this is a shameless plug. I have created something, and there will be an ad later in the episode called Build Your Guild, and I'll probably talk about some of the stuff that's in that very lightly later on in this episode. But I think it's much more important to think holistically about the support around you, because you are one person. We've talked about this thing of trying not to divide yourself as work you and real life you, because it's all your real life. You are this one person, and your hopes and dreams are not separate from each other. Your professional dreams are attached to your personal ambitions, are attached to your goals as a parent or a husband or a wife. Like everything is intertwined.
Yes.
So we should also think about support that's intertwined, but there are ways to think about it that aren't just, I'm going to tell all my friends all my stuff all the time, and then it's like, actually I need to make sure that I'm really thinking strategically about who I go to, with what, when and how, but also what I'm giving back as well. Because real life is messier than having a once a month meeting with your sponsor, there's a lot more that goes into it. So I think we'll talk a bit about your guild then.
I love it. See, the gamer in me, the kind of gaming nerd in me loves that word guild already. It's like,
okay. Well, I think you might enjoy this.
Yes.
So, as I've already said, the whole mentor, sponsor, coach thing, it is valuable when done well. And that's probably another conversation altogether about how to do that stuff well. Maybe that's something we'll address in the future. But it can often be incomplete and encourages a separation of work you versus non-work you, or I don't like to say real life because it's all real life, but you know what I mean.
I know, I get it.
Then you have this thing about personal board of directors, which in itself isn't a bad idea, but I think it still does this thing where it's very corporate. You're not a business.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're board of directors.
Yeah, like
let's take it easy. Yeah.
So it's overly rigid, it's overly professional, and it's overly hierarchical. And you need to be thinking about support in terms of, I'm going through seasons, I'm evolving, my support is going to evolve also, right? It's not going to stay static. And like I said earlier on, it's not just about who is supporting you, it's about who you are supporting. So before I talk a little bit about what I've designed within Build Your Guild, Dr. Dulcie Darkside, Dr. Dulcie Darkside, is going to talk a little bit about some research and insight. So in 2022, McKinsey and the Lean In organisation, I feel dirty saying Lean In now with all the controversy around its founder, but whatever. The Lean In organisation and McKinsey did a study and found that women who feel unsupported at work are significantly more likely to report burnout and have plans to leave their jobs. No surprise.
Unsurprising.
Right. But when support systems do exist, they tend to only focus on career guidance. Not the emotional, creative, or human challenges that we are all navigating all the time.
Sis!
Yeah.
Say it again for the people in the... Please repeat that thing you just said.
When support systems do exist, they often focus only on career guidance, not on the emotional, creative, or human challenges that we all navigate. Okay. In the very same study, it was found that mentorship and sponsorship are valuable, but they don't always protect against stress, loneliness, or decision fatigue.
Yes. Truth is being told in this study. Yes, finally.
Right. This thing about this personal board of directors. So in the Harvard Business Review, they did a piece on it, building your own personal board of directors. And they have you have your connected, your confidant, blah, blah, blah. That's great. But I would argue that it doesn't quite go far enough because there are things in there that don't speak to joy. They don't speak to grief. They don't speak to someone who will help you stop catastrophizing and just say, should we get a takeaway?
Yes!
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you need that. You need that too. Because you're not, it's not, this whole thing about you're the CEO of your life.
Yeah.
I actually think maybe it's not for everybody, but for me, I'd much prefer to think about building community around.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
And those relationships that you're building should be supporting all of you, not just whatever's going up on LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah.
Mic drop.
Because if there's one thing that Dulcie, will do, it's throw shade at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just there why am I in it? Well,
my God, LinkedIn keeps on catching strays in our episodes.
It's always going to catch a stray. Sorry, but not sorry. So, as I mentioned, within Workwell, I've created a thing called Build Your Guild, and I will put a link to that. There'll be an ad at some point in this episode. And obviously, I'm not going to talk through the whole thing, but I think it's worth me just sharing with you the 6 roles that I think, and again, in the workbook, there's lots of space for building more than that, right? Everybody needs are different. But I've created 6 roles or archetypes that are worth looking out for. So I'm going to really, really quickly talk through those in case it helps people think about who have they currently got in their circle, who might they want to look for, and what else might they need right now.
And when it's look for, it's more like keeping an eye out for, not aggressively chasing down people on the road, please.
When you have roles in your mind, you start to see people through different lenses.
Exactly.
Or you start to understand things in different ways. And also, this is not one person for each role. You might have a person in your life who's all 6 of them.
Exactly.
Lucky you, right? But this is more just what are those energies that are helpful for all of us?
I love that phrasing about energies, the vibes. What vibes are you catching from those people? Love it. Yes.
Exactly. So the first one then is the mirror. And that's a person that reflects your truth back to you. Gently or firmly, they understand how to do that, right? They help you see yourself. They help you see yourself clearly. They help you see your patterns. They help you understand your growth and not forget your brilliance. And when you're with them, you feel known. That's really important. These are the people that make you feel like, oh, they get me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Then we have the anchor. This is somebody that is steady and grounded and reliable. You do not have to perform or over-explain. You feel really safe with them. They're the person that always shows up, even if you're in quiet seasons, if you're in hermit mode. They might not always be the most vocal person, but they're the ones who don't disappear when things aren't going well. Next, we have the challenger. This is the one that pushes you, respectfully, but pushes you. They believe in your potential and they make sure you know that. They are the ones that will ask you the hard questions.
Oh, I've got someone in mind.
They are the ones who want you to grow, not just be comfortable. Now, this is not the person that just gives you critique for fun. No. Because honestly, cut them off. They're not the person that's trying to pressure you to be perfect. No. But they are the person who just helps push you. and doesn't let you stay complacent, at least not for very long.
Yes, I can. Yeah, one of those.
And then the next one is the joy bringer. This is a person that brings levity, laughter, lightness. They remind you of who you are beyond everything that you've got to get done, you know? They help you when things feel dim and dark and great. They help you recover your spark.
Ooh.
Yes. Now, this is not the friend that when you're going through something, they're like, oh, don't worry, you'll be okay. Cheer up. Fuck that.
Oh, no.
No. And that's another person that you should just cut them out.
No.
And they're also not the one that will ignore your harder, heavier feelings either. They're not the fair weather friend, but they are the person that will help put a smile on your face. So the next one is the guide. And this is a person that offers you wisdom, perspective. They probably have more experience, so they can help you zoom out and connect the dots. This might be, you know, a mentor, a sponsor, a coach. It could be an elder. Listen, real talk, it can be someone you don't know. It could be a voice that's coming from afar, from a book or a podcast or a public figure that you trust.
Yes, okay? Books are great for that. Actually.
Yeah, so don't feel like this has to be a real in-your-face, well, it's a real person, but it doesn't have to be someone that is right there with you. It can be an expert from afar. This is not someone who would, you know, make you feel small or be, what's that word I'm looking for? You know, speak down to you. I can't find the right word just now.
Patronizing?
Yes, exactly. It's not someone who'd make you feel small or patronize you or try and dictate to you the path that you must take. It's someone who does still have that understanding of who you are, but is able to offer wisdom probably from their own journey and lessons learned. And then the final one here is the catalyst. This is a person that ignites possibility. Like they really light up your thinking. They help fire off new neural pathways in your mind. Whenever you're with them, you leave feeling really charged with energy and ideas and inspiration. So this is the kind of person that you're gonna can't speak. This is
you're never gonna get it.
You're never gonna get it. Never ever gonna get it.
Not this time.
So this is a person that you often want to collaborate or brainstorm with. They're not going to talk over you. They're not an energy vampire, but they are that person that you're just like, oh, I can do anything. Like, wow, you know, you feel really, really buzzy with that after being with that person. So those are the 6 roles that I've created within Build Your Guild. There are some others. There's things like, you know, in the back pocket, things like the witness, that's someone who just holds space for you, and the co-dreamer who imagines with you, the protector that reminds you to rest, the soft place to land who's just calm and, you know, but ultimately you come up with the roles you need at this point in your life. So within that whole workbook, before you even get onto that, there's a lot of prompts about knowing what season you're in.
Yeah.
About knowing who you are and what you need, what's missing, where you're trying to go. And then you start thinking about, okay, so what do I need? And what you end up with is a much clearer view of what's working, what's not, and what do I do? You know, how do I move forward? How do I approach people? And also, very, very importantly, it's the 3rd time I'm saying it, what am I giving back?
Yes. Which of those things can you be for other people?
Yes. So it's really, really, if I do say so myself, because I made it, but it's a very, very helpful workbook to just actually consciously think about support. I think it's something that we kind of have our friends along the way, our colleagues that become friends, our colleagues that we like and trust, our bosses and coaches and mentors and all that sort of stuff. We kind of accumulate people as we go. But yet so many of us feel so unsupported because we're not really leveraging the strengths of these relationships. Yeah. Whether it be because actually we haven't quite got the right people around us just yet, or we're not asking the right things of the right people, or we are jaded and cynical and not comfortable asking for help, just calling myself out here a little but, you know, there are lots of reasons. So, you know, this whole idea of your guild and the whole Build Your Guild thing is to help overcome some of that and understand how, because we all need help, how to go about getting it in the most constructive way. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Next up, we're going to do living proof. That's spooky. Love it. So this week's living proof is the one, the only Mrs. Michelle Obama. So, I wish they were paying me to say this. They're not, but she and her brother have a fantastic podcast called, in my opinion, IMO. It's bloody awesome. Listen to it. That's just the free plug for them. You're welcome. We've got our one listener to go and listen to you now.
Every little helps.
Every little helps. You're welcome. So Michelle Obama has often spoken about her kitchen table, which is a small group of women that she turns to when things get really tough. So in her memoir, The Light We Carry, she shares how they're not just friends, they're sounding boards, they're soft places to land, they're people who have walked with her through love, loss, transition, and power. And so she writes in her book, she says, these are the people who remind me who I am, who I was, and who I'm trying to become. So I loved that. She didn't, and when she gets into more detail about it, what I really love about it is she didn't stumble into that support. She curated it, she nurtures it, and she prioritizes it. And the reason why she says it matters so much to her is that because even as someone like her who is so visible, so accomplished, and so admired, she can't do any of that on her own.
Yeah.
And so she's really just demonstrating that no matter who you are and how far you've got in life, you still need your mirrors, you still need your companions, you need your anchors, your joy bringers, your truth tellers, right? You need all those people who love you enough to challenge you.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fantastic. I loved her kitchen table, and I just thought, this isn't needing people isn't weakness.
Oh,
it's
a
deep, deep form of wisdom.
Yeah.
And so, for me, it just really left me with this sense of, okay, you don't need more contacts. You need more connection.
Yeah.
And you deserve a support system that reflects who you are and who you're becoming. So, thank you, Michelle Obama.
Thank you, Michelle.
Let's take a quick pause. If you've been craving deeper support or realizing that some of your relationships just don't fit anymore, this is for you. Build Your Guild is a beautifully designed self-reflection workbook to help you map, reimagine, and intentionally build the circle of support you actually need. It's Workwell's take on the personal board of directors idea, but with emotional intelligence, whole life alignment, and zero corporate jargon. You'll reflect on where you are, who's with you, and what kind of support you deserve across work, rest, and play. And because you're here with us on Undo, you can get 10% off with the code GUILD10. Just head to thisisworkwell.com/guild or tap the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the episode. So if you are ready to rethink your support system, here is your undo for the week.
Yes, let's go.
What we want you to unlearn is that asking for help is weakness. Dulcie, it's not weakness. Okay?
Bin it.
Bin that. Unlearn that one mentor or having one sponsor, that's just enough.
No, it's not.
Forget that. And then unlearn that support has to just be professional or formal or strategic. Okay.
Burn that in the fire.
Right. So just reflect on this a little bit more. Ask yourself, what do I believe about asking for help? Where might I have relied on outdated definitions of what support looks like? What kind of support am I craving that I haven't named yet? So really, if you want to just spend some time developing your awareness, notice where you've been doing too much alone.
Yes.
And where you'd love more care, challenge, or calm, okay?
Or inspiration, or motivation, or joy.
Exactly. And then for the do something new, start mapping your whole life support system. Not just your work support system or your outside of work friends. No, as a whole person, what is your support around you? So start to identify your current circle, like who is supporting you creatively, emotionally, practically, etc. And then reflect on some of those gaps and then start thinking about what you bring to others. Now, if you want to make this really easy, I would say go to the Workwell website and buy Build Your Guild because it's there for you to do it. But even if you can't do that right now, just reflect on some of these questions, right?
Can I add one thing to that as well? Is, when you've identified who supports you emotionally, practically, creatively, etc., think about what you can do to show them some appreciation for who they are to you. And
Absolutely. So and just don't forget that support is not selfish. It's how we stay strong. So make sure that you're curating this with care.
Oh, I love that. Curate with care. Love it.
Okay, so if you want to take this further, if you want to do some reading up on all these things, there's a few books I'd like to recommend. For worky things, there's a good book by a lady called Dorrie Clark. It's called The Long Game. And it's actually just talking about like being approaching your career strategically, I would say. But she talks about relationships within that book, and she talks about how to build meaningful relationships that evolve with your ambitions, not just evolve with your job title. So that's a good read. Then there is not work related at all, but this book is called Between Two Kingdoms by Suleika Jawood. And
isn't that John
Batista's wife? Yeah.
Oh, she's wonderful.
She's wonderful. And if you've watched their Netflix American Symphony, is a really stunning, very moving documentary. And in this book, she talks about her, and trigger warning, she's talking about having cancer again.
Yeah, she survived leukemia twice.
Yeah, like she is really so special. She's a fantastic writer. But she talks a lot, and it's in the documentary as well, just about their friends and the way in which they support them through a really traumatic time, and their relationship as well. Like it's just a fantastic book about healing, connection, and the unexpected ways in which people can carry us through the most trying times in our lives. And then the final book is by a woman called Jenny Allen. It's a faith-based book, but I think it's still very applicable for anybody. And it's called Find Your People. And it's very practical about building intentional and deep friendships. So yeah, those are three good books when thinking about in work, out of work, just all of life, like how to go about building really worthwhile relationships and support circles. So you'll find all of these and more in the Workwell website. Link is in the
Check it out.
So I think it's time that we wrap it up.
Let's go.
So if this episode gave you permission to seek or offer better support, I hope it stays with you. And if someone in your world needs to hear this too, then go ahead and send it their way.
Do it. And if you've got a few seconds, a 5-star rating or a quick review really helps us reach more people.
Now, this season, we are also doing short mini-sodes where we unpack dilemmas from listeners. So if there is something that you're wrestling with, be it boundaries, burnout, or just any other awkward work stuff, send your email to dilemma@thisisworkwell.com. And don't worry, we will always make sure that you stay anonymous.
Want to keep up with us online? You will find all the links in the show notes.
And next time, we're talking about that feeling of not doing enough. And why you might not be lazy at all. You might just be exhausted. Okay, so we will see your tired ass next week. Bye.
Bye.